He used this house as a kind of prison for him. What's gonna happen to it?
The house will be repossessed by the bank in 5 days.
Dad said nobody goes in. Nobody goes in.
Peter, do you know what's behind that door?
Once you get a screenplay finished, you do what's called a script breakdown. This is just basically an analysis to say, this is how many actors we have, how many crew members we're going to need, and how many days essentially you think you're going to need this for. And then you may even need to schedule those days out so that when you get to the budget stage, you know how many days you're going to need to rent your equipment, your lighting for. So next you're going to try to put together a budget, and you want this to be something that's very honest, and your first budget's probably going to be a lot more than you want it to. At first, put everything down: wardrobe, camera rental, food, duplications, audio equipment, makeup, first aid equipment, permits and locations fees, transportation, your editor, insurance, somebody to score your music for your movie. Go through and write down under headings: food, transportation, camera costs, and then put on subheadings all the different costs you're going to have, and then the realistic price that you're going to want there. A realistic budget is important so that when you go in front of your investors, you can say, this is how much money we need, and this is where all the money is going to go. Be realistic. Get everything in writing when you're working with money. You want to make sure that everybody you're working with knows that films are a high-risk investment. A lot of films never see the light of day, so let alone make their money back. So you want to make sure everybody knows they may have to be donating this money to you and not actually expecting something in return. Once you have the money, you're going to want to go after your cast and crew. As a producer, your job is paperwork. Make sure you get everything in writing, that they have what's called a deal memo, so they know how much they're supposed to get paid and you know how much you can expect out of them. Here's a basic list of some of the contracts you're going to need as a producer. If the movie makes it big, or if the movie flops and everybody goes bankrupt, who's in charge, who's responsible, and by what percentage? An agreement with the financial backers to tell them how much they get paid and how much they can expect from you. Sometimes this is in the form of a percentage up until a certain cap. So you say that, once the movie is paid off, you get 50% and I get 50% until you reach this certain amount, and then you're paid off. Permits from the local government that will allow you to shoot in whatever district you are. This is especially important in national parks. Location releases that prove that you have the right to shoot on somebody's property. Written permission from corporations saying that you can use their logos in your film. Music license contracts. This is especially important if one of the characters in your movie is singing or referring to a song. Before shooting ever begins, you want to do what's called a location scout. That's when you go to a location, you figure out how many restrooms you have. Is there going to be enough parking for your cast and crew? If you're doing something that involves a lot of fire, are there a lot of flammable items around that need to be cleared? How much power you have? Noise. If you're in a location like a restaurant and you have to shut off somebody's coolers or refrigerators, do you have permission to do that? Are there any sound problems? Are you near an airport? Security. If you're shooting in an inner city location, are there going to be a lot of people around? Are you going to have to block those off or rope them off or hire guards to guard your equipment? Is it going to be hot or cold? Should you tell your cast and crew that they have to bundle up or else wear sunscreen? Closing a road. If you're going to stop any kind of traffic, you need to get permission from the police department. Hospitals. In case of an emergency, where are you going to take somebody? During the production phase of the movie, the producer basically steps back and is quality control. You make sure that there are no catastrophes that happen, that everybody's being treated fairly. In post-production, a producer will generally supervise and make sure that everything is done to the best quality possible. You'll also want to weigh out what are my distribution avenues. Sometimes you'll do this in pre-production, but you'll figure out, are we going to go straight to DVD or are we going to try for some kind of theatrical release? How are we going to advertise? Are we going to go through festivals? And you make sure the whole package comes together, because ultimately that's what a producer's job is, bringing the package together. This lesson was brought to you by the movie Between the Walls.